Good morning and welcome back to Hidden Tracks Untold Tales. Today we've got my sister, Nonn. So this is a passion project talking about broadcasting, entertainment and the music business as a whole. So Nonn, what role did music play in your upbringing?
Let me start on a gratitude note. Thank you so much for having me. Music played a pivotal role in making me the broadcaster I am today, and the legacy I'd like to stand for, and the 20 plus years in broadcasting I give thanks to music, because I remember growing up in Naval. I grew up, I'm 46, I do not have issues with my age, so yes.
Most women don't say that.
I know. But I was born in 1979, so I was born in Alex. I grew up in Naval, went to live on my mom's side of the family when I was 5 years. And I have so many uncles like that I'm so grateful to for the music. So growing up in apartheid South Africa for black and brown people there was not much to smile about, but there was the music. So having to see an uncle that I grew up in a very politically aware family where I was made aware at a very young age of the injustices of apartheid for black and brown people.
Yeah.
So I would see this, but then on weekends, on a Sunday particularly, this uncle of mine that was so angry and so serious about things and justifiably angry would have something to smile about on weekends and a Sunday because of the music.
Yeah.
And I, whether it would be playing his vinyls, his records, or listening on the radio, and I remember, must have been about 8 or 9, but it was definitely before I was 10 years old. And I thought, I want to do that when I grow up. I want to make people smile.
Oh wow.
I won't be singing, but I'll be playing the music that makes people smile. Yes.
Wow, so it was destiny. So you knew from the time you were a little girl that...
I knew it. And that's why I tell how my kids and extended kids, nephews and nieces, that follow your passion. Sometimes grown-ups, but sometimes grown-ups want you to do things their way all the time and don't listen to the kids. I knew before I was 10 I was going to be on radio, and I knew I was going to kill it. Thanks to the musicians that were going to help me kill it.
And you did, but it was 20 years later in the broadcasting industry. But what was your journey? How did you go from that, this little girl, to then on radio, broadcasting? What was the journey from then?
Okay. I still love your dimples. So I then went to AAA School of Advertising. I studied marketing. And I always say to people, I'm a copywriter by trade, let me write copy.
Wow.
So then the radio bug was still there. And I did a course, found myself a mentor, Anna Carilla. She passed on and she became not just a mentor but a sister for life. And then I started in corporate radio, Radio Pick and Pay.
Wow. You're the one 7 Rand 99.
Yes. But still also playing your favorite songs while you stroll the aisles.
I love your voice.
And making sure that you stay and buy more baked beans.
Yeah.
So and so I started there, and then I've worked in the corporate space. So from Radio Pick and Pay, I then also worked for like Nando's. Nando's is a radio station, Wave Radio. For African Bank Radio, they started a radio station during COVID, actually. From Radio Pick and Pay, I then moved to Kaya FM.
Okay.
So you have to get a demo for radio. It's like your CV. So did a demo. A mentor of mine, a man called Dave Walters.
Yeah.
Who, when Dave speaks, like he makes, shout out Dave Walters. He's still in radio, but more behind the scenes now. So Dave Walters said to me one day, when you came here and I asked you, because he was part of the people that interviewed me.
Yeah.
Tembi Bengashi, I don't know if anyone remembers Tembi Bengashi, they were part of the Semonye. Oh, Yeah, so she was my station manager, and also first people to make me believe that I can do this radio thing and I can do it well. So they were all behind me to say, hey, you're ready for whichever commercial radio station you want to work for. And guess what? I wanted to work for Kaya. Why? Because of the music that Kaya was playing. I was in my early 20s, but because Kaya was playing the songs
that you grew up with your uncle
listening to. So that's how I wanted to work for Kaya.
Okay.
And I was at Kaya for 9.5 years. Then I briefly had a stint at Lesedi FM, and then I went to 702 for 9 years. And then I'm back at Kaya now on a stand-in basis contract. So I'm the reliever. Someone has a flu, they call me. Someone wants to go and leave, I'm there.
Oh, okay. But how often does that happen?
It happens enough for me.
Okay.
It happens enough for me. I like it that way. It's like I'm playing hide and seek with the listeners. No, you see me, no, you don't. No, you see me, no, you don't.
So would you then say Kaya FM shaped your voice presence? Or when was the turnaround point for you from going on Pick and Pay and all those other radio stations to when did you get your voice and your presence?
I wouldn't say they shaped my voice presence, because I always knew my brand identity. At the time when I went to Kaya, a lot of young people were wanting to go to the hip station because they're in their 20s.
Yes,
I mean, I remember rocking up at Kaya with my, a youth brand that I'm still so proud of. That the late Wandile started, Lokshan Culture.
Yes.
Because here,
Here
we were as young people to say, hey, there are all these American brands, but we can rock our South African brands.
Yes.
And when it wasn't cool to wear Lokshin, but like Lokshan Culture
became a thing.
And I remember going.
I wanted a pair of Lokshan Cultures. I never got it, but I really wanted one.
Right? Yes. So I went to Lokshan. I remember rocking my crop top. That you guys we used to call it stomach out.
You were bad, basically.
It was a baddie then. And then going to Kai to say, as much as, yes, I'm a young person, but I'm an old school at heart.
Wow.
I can rock a Donny Hathaway song, a Hugh Masekela, a Dorothy Masuka song, a Mamiri Makeba song, a Jonas Gwangwa song, with equal passion and ease, and the history and understanding the significance of the music of our elders as young as I am. Wow. So I'd say that these Kaya FM amplified my voice, and I was grateful for the fact that I was allowed to do me. I had a station, a programs manager that allowed me to be me. And the same goes for 702, it allowed me to be me. Lesedi FM was brief because it just was not a match.
Yeah.
It was just not a match. I'm not taking it personally.
Yeah.
We move.
Yeah.
We move. In fact, sometimes I forget to put it in my CV that I was briefly at Lesedi FM, but I met amazing, this is the thing of workspaces. I met amazing people behind the scenes. Amazing producers that are still brothers, amazing sisters. Like now, there's someone called another sister, I'll just give a big shout out to her, Usibidi. She does the sports show on Lesedi FM. At a prime time when not a lot of women are doing sports and doing it well, particularly in radio. Usibidi Mule feel like she's killing it. Wow. And she's one of the sisters that, because I don't, no man is an island. And I think with women, when I sometimes see now how toxic it gets sometimes in professional spaces, and it doesn't necessarily have to be radio, but even someone that works at a bank or a teacher, like there's a niece of mine that's just started teaching, and her HOD is so mean. But it's nice that I said to her, you will find that one teacher that will be like a sister at work. So the sisterhood is still important.
That's good. And how do you're obviously going through this, you're a young person, you're now on Kaya FM, but there's an old lady in that young person's body.
I like that.
And then you're getting married, you're having children. How did you even balance that? And how did that influence your music? How did that influence your career? Maybe just a moment in your life when you were transitioning from this young hip woman to now being a mom to now, and still continuing in such a fast-paced industry. How did you,
The support system, I must say, my family. I always say, and I always put this as a WhatsApp status, The world sucks, but my aunts are amazing. I have the most amazing aunties who, there was always an aunt that was willing to either babysit or take my child to, ballet, extra ballet lessons. There was always, my mom would be a call away, my granny. I was raised by my mom's rakgadi, and she was always, as much as I would be in Joburg and she's in the Val, I knew I could drive to the Val, or there would be an aunt that is driving the kids to the Val to babysit. So really my family, big ups to my family, big ups to my aunts for always being there for me. And the sisterhood that I also got in radio. I think of someone that's still a sister now, Nikki B, Nikki Blumenfeld, who people would say we're weird, because I guess if you're creative, sometimes people don't get you.
Yeah, you guys are different.
Yeah, you guys are different. So I remember I used to take offense. People say, "Oh, you're weird. You dress weird. Your hairstyles are weird." And I'd be like, like some of the colleagues would be like, "You and Nikki B, like the click." So that helped. And also with live music, you'd find, you go to festivals as an MC, you meet people that become like your sisters. So, and the listeners, because they make the journey important. They make you feel at times, because life is not always rosy. And I remember one thing that shaped my world when I lost my baby, and I had never experienced loss with that magnitude. I'd lost my older brother when I was 18. And I thought, I don't think I can go on with this life thing. But God sustained me. When I lost my son, and my listeners were there for me.
Wow.
Like, my listeners were there for me, because little did I know how much, as much as I thought, I'm coming in, I'm doing a radio show, we're here for just 3 hours, we disconnect. No, that made me realize, they will still carry me through in their lives.
Wow.
Even after I've switched off the mic.
Wow.
Because they really carried me through. I remember my first show when I came back on air after my baby's passing in the funeral, and I didn't want to take calls, but then this is before WhatsApp, because the beauty of WhatsApp, we say radio is an intimate medium, but I think social media is not really that bad, particularly with the WhatsApp line where you connect with the listeners, because with WhatsApp, you have your profile picture. I can see your profile picture.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have the profile picture of your grandmother.
Yeah.
And I already put a face behind the voice, the voice note that you're sending or the text that you're sending. And I remember the time we had SMSs, right? Because this was in 2013.
Yeah.
And the first SMS, this lady said, Mntwanam.
Oh,
my child. My
come
child.
on.
Just that. There was no emoji. My child. And at that moment, I knew that I can do this show for 3 hours. And then the ones that followed, I will always love you. And with song, and I used to have this on Cairo, and I had late night soul inspired hour. It would be 11 to 12. And for me, that was the hour where, if you're a listener, whether you're driving back from, maybe you're studying further, your extra lesson, maybe you work crazy hours, like how you sometimes work crazy hours in your other life.
Yeah.
It's your time to reflect on the day and give thanks and get ready for the next day. So it was, I would call it soul inspired, where you're reflecting. So I'd play not just particularly gospel songs, but songs that just mean so much to you because your grandmother introduced you to that song, your aunt, maybe your ex. You're not loving each other anymore, but Lego Male, you are not divorcing the song because you guys didn't work out, or your girlfriend. So it was that hour. And it's funny how I came up with a feature, and that feature carried me through during the toughest times in my life.
Wow.
The power of music and connection in song.
Over the years, you've interviewed so many, there must have been so many people sitting opposite you on radio for 20 years.
20 plus.
20 plus years, excuse me. How dare I? Are there any stories that live on with you? Are there any memories, or are there any stories that never made it on air that still linger on?
Yes, so many. And to the first one for today, really, I'll start with, is you and your grandmother.
Wait, you said you met me in 2012. I was like, oh. And then you sent me a picture and it had me bawling. I was like, oh my gosh, you did. But I was so skinny. Look at me now.
You're gorgeous.
Still gorgeous, but I was like, it took me back, and I didn't realize how I was so involved in my grandma's career, and that I went everywhere with her, and how her career shaped who I am today, and meeting you. Yeah.
And also for me at that moment, what is also just so important about that time, with what I mentioned earlier now, moments where listeners were really there for me. I met your grandma. I loved your grandmother because of the music that I grew up with, but also for women of her generation that were absolutely still so gorgeous and doing what they do, with the gravitas that they were doing it. With everything else, all those socio-economic injustices, but they were still showing up and making people smile. And then here she was as a grandmother. Yes, because a colleague of mine had interviewed her. I didn't interview grandmother, but I was coming in the show after. And then you guys were walking out to finish the interview, and you were there with her. And it was like how she just brings you close. And this is my granddaughter. It is that. So at that moment, and I was telling my husband earlier on that, like, I will stop everything for Laika, because just like Laika and Bongani Fasi, because I love your grandmother so much, and I loved Osis Brenda Fasi so much that, I mean, Bongani Fasi probably thinks I'm stalking him, but anything he posts, I'm just like liking him on Instagram, because of just how much your grandmother was like an aunt to me and someone I looked forward to. But also just the music. I met you in 2012, and I think I told you that no, I've met you before. There was a time when you were introducing yourself, and for me it was like, because I met my hero in terms of music. I met my hero in terms of womanhood. As a black woman. As a businesswoman, right? Because she was an entrepreneur, a creative entrepreneur in an economy that was challenging, is still challenging. You know, and here you were as well, like standing next to your grandmother at that time, understanding what value your grandmother is bringing to the world of broadcasting, the world of music, the world of our history. So I met you then, and I was pregnant.
You said you didn't look pregnant, not at all.
Stop it. The early months one carries it well. So and she guessed right as well. Like, because at that moment, then she held my tummy. It's like, it's a boy, and she guessed right. It was a boy. My angel in heaven now.
That's like,
so that stands out, and also I remember. I used to have a feature on a show I did on Friday nights. I used to call it the Weekend Starter on Kaya, when Kaya was in Newtown, because 2012 Kaya was in Newtown before they moved to Rosebank. And I played a Mama Mary Mageba song, and I would say, oh, amazing people, funny people are born in March. And she called, and she said, oh, Ma, thank you for playing my song. It was a new song that she had. I forget the song because I was taken by that moment. I'm also born in March, and I heard her voice, and I was like, oh my god. I was just like, this was an off-air call, because I started producing our own shows. You would be producer for your show, content, technical, and on air.
Oh my gosh!
Now you guys have it so easy. That's why I was telling you, I love the stand-in vibe, because for the first time in my broadcasting career, I've always produced my shows. I've always curated my playlists.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
But it has allowed the identity that when you know Nonn, It's soul, it's jazz.
Okay.
It's a soul.
And it's literally her touch.
It's literally her touch. And it's not easy, Shem, for young ones, I would say, as well. Sort of saying Shem, because then you find sometimes they like, I'm going to play you these songs. No, you're not playing these songs. You didn't curate those songs. But hey, we move with the times.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be those 46-year-olds that ask like, oh yes, the times is Adana, no, I don't want to be those people. We move with the times. Young ones, you're doing amazing. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So, that's your grandmother standout moment, because I didn't just experience her as this artist that was a game changer of note.
Yeah.
Mama Mary, I gave a calling me, talking to me. The Nonns that
I've arrived.
No, we never arrived.
You never arrived. Oh.
We never arrived, because then you stop learning.
Okay.
You stop having a teachable spirit.
Okay.
Throughout this journey, you will realize that there are those that say they have arrived, and you can't teach them anything, because you have to. You. If I say I've arrived, then I'm not teaching myself to learn, because you do this.
Yeah.
I'm not moving forward. I'm not opening up to mediums like this, like podcasts. I'm just saying. I mean, radio is still amazing, but you don't open yourself. So no, I have not arrived. I've still not arrived.
Yep.
So I called my mom at that moment. I wasn't gonna do a link and say, guess who I just spoke to? I called my mom, and that was a moment for just me and my mom, and now with you and your podcasters. Yeah,
that's amazing.
And obviously the other guys that I've met that are just beautiful human beings, the likes of your and you know, emceeing big events and behind the scenes guys like the Brandford Marcellus, like I'll say with Brandford, you know what he did? So the one night I was emceeing, and the next night I just went behind the scenes to say hi to the guys behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I'm not rocking my all-star, I'm not wearing that big poof dress. That's where you go, you're there to say, good evening ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So I'm like, to Malume, he says, nyakumbula vele. Can I need a picture with like, you know, Brandford Marcellus. Because Brandford Marcellus is that guy in the Shani song, I Love Your Smile, where she goes, go Brandford, go. I like that part. And then Brandford goes, I like that part. So I go, right, and I'm like, hi Brandford, I need a picture. I'm the lady that was emceeing yesterday. I was wearing a pink duck and a pink dress. He says, of course I remember you. And then he takes a picture. That was a moment, because most of the international acts I've met were like such divas, and he was so nice.
Wow.
He was super nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's always something, but did I say older? Is that disrespectful? Anyway, the more seasoned musicians, they're always so nice.
Yes.
They're always so humble. They always respect time. They're always punctual.
What do you think brings
so
that?
So professional. I don't know. It's like very different.
What do you think that happens? What do you think that happens?
I think they respect the art. They respect people.
Yes.
They're always so nice. And then you meet the others and you're just like, it's like a whirlwind. You know, so.
And then Abdullah Ibrahim. Oh my God. When he walked, also it was the first time I see someone, it's as though he glides. It's like he doesn't walk.
Devastating. So how do we, with broadcasting, and you know, I remember there was a time as an artist, if you wanted to have your song played, you kind of had to stalk the DJs and show up with a CD and pray to God that somebody would like you. And how do we preserve legacy? How do we continue the stories? As someone who's been in broadcasting for over 20 years, more than 20 years, how would we preserve legacy? How do we preserve the music in a world where music is constantly evolving? Amapiano is new, right? I grew up with kwaito and and jazz, but music is ever evolving and there's always this new stuff. How do we preserve our heritage, the songs that we grew up with, the songs that shape our culture? And also encourage artists to be authentic to themselves, because I think artists are scared if I produce an album authentically, it might not sell.
Yeah, I like your question, and it comes at a time when a few days ago I was invited to speak to young artists at the SA Hip Hop Museum.
Yeah.
Who would have figured?
Yeah.
Whenever my name comes up, people are thinking soul and jazz.
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised when I got the call as well. It's like, as a hip hop museum, they're like, yes. And to talk about, can radio still break a new artist?
Yep.
So hence, I'm grateful for this question. Do you know the most beautiful thing about the young people of today, and Amapiano particularly? These kids do their research. These kids listen to the songs of the elders. I mean, I think of an artist like a Kelvin Momo, who does soulful piano.
Yeah.
These, you can hear from the music that these kids, and some conversations I've had with young people, is that it would be, even if you're not aware, you're like, this is a jazz song, this is a kwaito song, so they have very teachable spirits. They might be AI kids, but they do their research. Before they're going to copy and paste what ChatGPT says, they're going to read that. It's imperative, particularly with radio, to not forget the power of a link. When I'm going to play your grandmother's song, for example, like a lot of people think, and that's still, I still want to zipa some people, think that the Pata Pata song was written by, was first performed and written by Mama Miriam Makeba, but no, it was your grandmother's song, Mama Dorothy. And I always, when I hear a broadcaster say that, not include the history of the song, I get so mad. Because number one, you ought to prepare your link. You ought to know your research. So Legacy for South Africa, a lot of work needs to be done, particularly now with the advent of AI. The African voice needs to be there. Independent artists, I love that now there's this flow of independent artists.
But they struggle so much to do anything because it costs so much.
They do struggle.
Yeah.
And this is where government needs to come in. Our government needs to come in to make sure that our young people, unlike our elders, who are being taken advantage of still, Namanj, our elders are still being taken advantage of, that there's education and there's also a rule to say that the creative economy in South Africa has and can change lives. And let's make sure that our young artists are not taken advantage of. For example, I still have this conversation with my radio peers, right? Where you will find an artist that's backed by a big record company.
Yeah.
And comes with all this marketing machine. And comes with maybe, you know, the PR person has all these friends that she has lunch with or plays golf with.
Yeah.
You can easily say, hey Nonn, you know, I've got this new artist and you know, you guys should really look into their music. I know you guys have focus groups, because there are focus groups in radio. It's not just about me liking the music. It's not just me about, because one thing I still do, and I would do at a very young age, if I hear a song by a new artist, I want to experience them live. And I don't lie. I'm one person that can't lie. If your album is great and I see you perform live and I can see that vocally here you are wounded today,
it's different.
And I'm like, how much goes into production? And
Yeah.
Because that's when you ought to tell yourself and be honest with yourself, have an authentic conversation with yourself as an artist to say, I need to prepare. Because artists that do gigs, that do live gigs, that invest in their own gigs, like what I see with independent artists, they'll send an email. And in that email is a bio. And they will say, Sis Nonn, I am performing at this and this venue. Come and see me. I go and I see, like particularly with jazz artists.
Yeah.
I go and I see and I hear, hey, and then I'm going to be honest, because also in my 20 plus years, I love the fact that there's no artist that can say to you, I've had chocolate with Nonn, and that's why Nonn played my songs.
Okay.
I said to you earlier on when we were just before the thing, that I do not have friends in the industry. I have acquaintances. And that's why.
Are you the colleagues?
I'm the person. I'll tell you why. It's really to protect being professional. Because if I'm going to be friends with some of my colleagues, I'm visiting that friend. We're having lunch. She's going to say, oh,
oh yes, and influence you.
And try and influence me. No. I want to experience you how I'm experiencing you, because also my listeners have known you for 20 plus years. Those that are new, hi. Hi. You get a new listener every day.
Yeah.
I mean, at the SA Hip Hop Museum, there were 50 young people, and in that 50, only 4 had listened to the radio brands that I have worked for.
Wow.
And was I hurt? Yes. I felt very old. Because I've never listened to the radio station. And I understood. Like, I remember my son was like, mommy, they didn't listen to you. Why? I'm like, you have listened to me because you've been in my womb, bruh.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, you would probably only listen to me. Oh, mommy's at work, when you're thinking, I should have cleaned the house.
Yeah.
What time is she coming home?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, 30 minutes before mommy's show ends, let me clean the house. Let's be honest. So that's the reason why I don't have friends that are musicians.
Okay.
They are my acquaintances. Sorry if I'm breaking their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also because I want to be authentic. I never want to be someone that doesn't stand for the fact that I had chocolate with this person and that's why Nonn is playing their music.
Yeah.
Or, I was at their wedding, that's why I'm going to play. No, I don't want that. I would be nice in saying that. I'm busy. And I think having had kids at a young age, and lots of kids at a young age, I would always have the excuse like, I'm not babysitter today, I can't come and have lunch with you. But in all honesty, it was really to protect my brand.
Okay.
To say, if I'm going to play your song Laika, it's because I saw you I heard your CD, and I saw you perform. And sometimes, most times in fact, there's a jazz photographer that will tell you, like, he used to say, he's an elder, he'd say to me, you work so hard, because he would always see me at events, but I'll hide, so that the artist or the artist people don't see me. So that when I do my link, I'm honest
About your experience.
My experience with your art. But also because I'm so human, sometimes I'm honest in the sense that, my mood was silly or arrogant. But anyway, music was sharp, so
okay. And then what would you say to someone like me? Young African, gorgeous girl.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what
and
can
smart.
I say? Just trying to preserve a legacy, trying to I feel like I have an unfair advantage because I had a different life. I was exposed to lots of things, lots of different people, from different industries. How do I go about doing that in the modern world and still be respectful to the culture, and also I want young people to have these conversations. I'm having conversations with you because we need to learn about the experience. But how do we preserve legacy? How should I preserve the legacy?
You're on the right track, because this is a full circle moment for me in terms of I met you with your grandmother.
Yeah.
And people like you can add and amplify the stories, the real true stories of the good side of this industry and the bad side of this industry. To be able to now, it's a global village in a sense, where someone from Amsterdam, for example, will be hearing the story for the first time and be like, oh, as much as this person was known as the Pata Pata song was known, but this is actually Mom Dorothy's song. And yes, these people were friends. It's to make sure that we write as much as we need to write. I still feel we need more books. And I need a book from you about your grandmother.
I'm working on it.
Yes.
It's so hard to write books. I respect authors.
Give it. I know, because I'm an author as well.
It's so hard.
And I always say try and write 2 hours. For every 2 hours, just before you sleep, try and write something.
Okay.
It's much easier to start than to not start.
Yeah, I didn't know I had 20,000 words in me. So
right?
It's already like...
You see? Yeah. Start writing. I'm writing, I've written one book, I finished it, Reinvesting in My Will to Live Again. But after writing that book, I figured I'm not ready for the world to know me that intimately. So I figured that one, I'll park it will come out when I'm 50.
Okay,
which is in 4 years' time.
Yeah. Okay.
But the one that's definitely coming out this year is my love letter to radio.
Wow, I want that book. Please autograph. I'll definitely get a copy.
So let's write.
Yeah.
So that we preserve our legacy. Let's have these type of conversations.
Yeah.
and let's really support our projects. Like even if someone is having an exhibition, a photographic exhibition about who your grandmother was. You have those pictures. No one has those pictures. No one else has those images. Only you, where you have an exhibition. And we're all about pushing the economy and gas economy. Don't have it a Sentin. Have it at a Soweto Theatre, for example. Have it at a, I'm going to say Sharpeville.
Yeah, it's at Sharpeville.
Human Rights Day. Because here's Laika having her photographic exhibition about her grandmother and music and who she was and the legacy. And then you have about 5 Abu Mama Bapegai have their stalls selling food. So what are you doing? You paving it forward, but also it's hard stuff. It's hard work. It's work for the heart.
Yeah, hard work is different.
Hard work is different because you put in your everything in it. At an age where people are just here. They're not connecting like this. So I'm grateful for conversations like this. In my little space, in my book, Love Letters to Radio, I'm sharing all these moments. The question you asked me about things that didn't make it to the mic.
Yeah.
Things that didn't make it to a stage where I was emceeing.
Yeah.
I'm putting that in. I mean, I look at radio, for example. I stand because of so many. The Bob Mabenas of this world, my big sisters, the Notembas, the Rowena Bird.
Wow.
I tear up because this thing, family man, we need to know each other. I found out that I was related to Rowena Bird, Kaya FM, because I just came in to be like, hey, Rowena Bird, I grew up listening to you. And she's like, then she told me about an aunt of mine. It's like, are you not Bonzo's niece? I'm like, yes, I am. Are you guys friends? She says, no, we're cousins.
Wow.
So the late Rowena Bird. So I also think more than anything, those of us that, like I'm 46. I try to, when a 16-year-old reaches out to me, to not be like, I know everything. There's so much that 16-year-olds can teach me as well. And that's how those two worlds merge and we move.
Yeah.
You have a young person that's probably trying to write a movie about the musicians of the past. Who can tell them that story? We have a Laika that can tell them that story. We have other young musicians that have worked, or a Luyanda Madok, there's a dope one. Intergenerational conversations.
Yeah.
That's how we move the legacy forward.
There we go. Intergenerational conversations. I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I'm so grateful just for having the conversation. It is a hard project. It has its ebbs and flows, but we keep moving. So I appreciate you and I appreciate this opportunity. And I guess this is one way I can preserve the legacy as well.
And I saw your grandmother perform. It was her. It was Mama Tanti Klassen. It is Mama Abigail. I was with my parents.
Wow.
At there used to be Birchwood Jazz Comes Alive evenings.
Yes.
Were you there?
Yes, I was there.
Okay. Those girls.
I feel like I was in all the adult stuff. Don't know what I was doing.
No, but that's why you are here now.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in awe.
Wow.
The consistency. Look, I love makeup and dresses, and like I'm still a girl at home looking good. So I don't mean to sound disrespectful by calling them the girls. Like, but the girls were killing it.
They still are.
The girls were killing it. They were here, like vocally and just stage presence.
Yeah.
Your grandmother, Mom Dorothy, Mom Abigail, Mom Tanti Klassen, they were killing it song by song. And I'll tell you why when I say song by song, because also I was experiencing them through, not just as a broadcaster and someone that grew up listening to them, but through the lens of my mom and my dad, Mama and Papa. And to a point where like, my dad was on my mom's case. So, did you see those girls? Did you see? I'm like, okay. Those legacies, those memories, and we need more live events and that are curated by the likes of you guys.
I am ready to put together a whole production.
We will be there.
secret.
We will be there. And I'm just a phone call away.
Yes,
I'm
I
really
know
just
that
phone
you
call.
literally, I appreciate that.
Over WhatsApp.
Yeah.
But your generation don't like calling. Why? Why you guys text? You guys don't even like voice notes.
Yeah.
It's too busy.
I can't speak for everyone.
Okay.
And look,
But most of you, right, don't like to call.
yes, but the truth is sometimes to express yourself, it's better to call because text can be misunderstood. When I text you, I'm not sure what space you're in. I'm not sure mentally, I don't know what space you're in. Physically, I don't know where you are,
Okay.
So when I text you, my text might not be received in the way that I'm sending it, I might just be like, oh, hey, Nonn, and you're like, how single, Nonn mind? You know what I mean?
get-
But I don't know what you're
I see.
going through. So
I see.
it's better sometimes to just either send a voice note as the best way to explain things and to call. For that reason, I call, but it's not always the best.
Laika, I'm so grateful for this moment.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the book. I'm looking forward to the project.
I'm looking forward to the Love Letter to Radio. I think we all are.
And my husband shouldn't be angry. I've had crushes on radio as well.
Oh no, you gotta put that in the book.
People sliding into my DM. Yes.
Isn't that a secret? You gotta put that in there. Like,
Every time Bob, I said yes. I was flattered. I'm like, this young one. This Nonn inside. Mesmerizer. This Nonn's voice is mesmerizing. Oh my gosh, stop it.
You don't say.
I like it, but I can't. I'm married.
Yeah.
And I'm old.
I'm off the market.
I'm off the market and I'm old.
There's no such thing, hey? My definition of old is different. My grandma was 84 and she was wearing shorts and still performing. So
Yes.
every time people are like, I'm old and I'm 40 something, I'm just like, can't relate to that.
Okay. I'm not going to say
Not
I'm
at
old
all,
anymore.
yeah.
But do not slide into my DM now. I can't like it. Even if I want.
All right, thank you everyone, and see you in the next episode.